Hi everybody, happy March. I'm Carisa Bunten with 7th Street Gifts, a little brick and mortar apothecary shop in Newport. We're open 7 days a week, noon to 5, and having an open house March 26th if anybody's out and about in the city and wants to come by. Big thanks to Lawrenceburg Public Library, the Friends of the Library for sponsoring, and most of all you for checking out the kits, expressing interest, and bringing 7th Street back again for the Year of Teas. So our first 2 months, January and February, we started with different types of green tea. And for March, I decided to throw a little black tea in, but as a chai blend, because it was kind of a good month for it, or is, with the changing weather and the dampness, and just to kind of spice it up a little bit, literally and metaphorically. And chai tea is kind of a fun one because it has a lot of other uses. You can bake with it and even make like frozen pops. There's some really cool recipes in your handout that you're going to get with your sample this month. And so it kind of lends itself to some experimental time in the kitchen besides just tea drinking. And then along with your black tea this month, you're going to get a fun tea leaf reading card. And it talks about the saying that we spoke about in January, where it's still in the tea leaves, or the reading of the tea leaves, and fun tea quotes. And they'll just kind of tie into the theme and the month. And then your cool chai is going to look like this. And this is a very finely ground, almost pepper-like tea because it's so blended with the base being black tea, which comes from our Camellia sinensis, but many other herbs and spices. So this one you'll certainly want to use your muslin bag with. So we went on ahead and packed it in the muslin bag to be sure that everybody used it and had a successful brewing if they decide to do it as a cup of tea and not incorporate it into one of the recipes. And then just for fun, to kind of show you some accessories, I'll just do a few at a time as to not overwhelm or bombard. But for an everyday tea drinker, or if this is something you really like or you're enjoying the loose teas, this is mine. You can tell I just used it yesterday. I washed it, but it's got a few dry tea leaves in it. This is one of my favorite things to use for loose tea on a daily basis. And they're these cool little strainers, and they're built in, and it's stainless steel. And then you would put your chai or your green, or really any tea, and honestly it could be a tisane, a flower, or an herb, into here, about a tablespoon or so. And then you let it sit in there, and then you pour your hot water over it and pull it up and down and allow it to steep. I like my stuff pretty strong. So I would let it steep like 3 to 5 minutes, and then when it was done, you would pull it out, and set it to the side and let that rest, and then enjoy your tea. So your muslin bags work excellent for a great start and to kind of introduce you to the idea of loose tea. But if by the end of the year you're really on board with it, this might be something that you would want to invest in for your daily consumption. And it's kind of fun to see the different accessories and kind of accoutrement that comes along with loose tea drinking. So let's revisit our chai tea again real quick and just talk about it a little bit. So again, the base of chai tea is a black tea. And again, this is the first black tea that we've introduced to our Year of Teas. And it is blended with spices such as cinnamon, anise, black pepper, fennel, and cardamom. And those are the spices that are blended into your recipe here. Your black tea, cinnamon, anise, black pepper, fennel, and cardamom are what's blended in your little chai tea bag. It's a warming and spicy tea, so it does have a little bit of a kick or a bite to it, but in a good way, and particularly this kind of time of year with that dampness and those kind of like chills that come, it really is warming. It takes cream and sugar very well. I would compare it almost to like that of a black coffee. It's very full flavored. And it has a really strong tannic acid and caffeine content, and it's very deep colored, kind of like as deep as a coffee color. So it's a really strong, I guess kind of potent might be the right word, full-bodied flavored tea that's very warming and very rich. So again, if you're somebody who likes cream and sugar in general in your coffee, this would be a tea that would take it really well and kind of even out the strong flavors of it. So again, unlike the green teas from January and February that we started our Year of Teas off with, this tea has been processed and blended very much so by human. Remember how we talked about the green teas are kind of less adulterated and kind of more just crude and pure, like plucked right from the Camellia sinensis with very little processing or tinkering with? Well, this tea has been cured, blended, and ultimately curated by man to create the final product. So it's very different than the other two in respects of it shows you that from the very same plant, Camellia sinensis, that gave us our 2 green teas, it gave us this black tea as well. It was just when it was picked and then it was cured, smoked, and kind of fermented of sorts to create the black tea, and then certainly again blended with our spices to give it that rich flavor. So that's where your variations come again. Remember, we're going to use this year to kind of show you the full spectrum and palette of teas. So the chai tea will be quite a bit different than our previous greens. Very warming, and again, it's important to note it has a very high caffeine content, almost that of coffee, not quite, but very similar, much higher than the green tea's caffeine content, and then it is blended with these spices. So what you'll do is you're going to get your nice little food grade wax envelope and open it up. I'm not going to, because I'm going to leave it all sealed up. And then within here, we repackaged in a smaller wax envelope in your muslin bag because remember how fine it is and it sifts through. We didn't want like the powders and stuff to come through. It's very much the consistency of a table black pepper. Then you're going to empty your wax envelope into your muslin bag and use your muslin bag just like you would a tea bag to steep and blend in your chai tea. And since this is such a strong one, you could get 2 probably 6-ounce cups of tea, but this is like a 10-ounce cup, and I would make one really strong 10-ounce cup with it if it were me. I would do about 8 ounces of hot water, pour it in at a full boil, let it steep about 3 to 5 minutes, and then my personal taste is I would add about 1 ounce to 2 ounces of milk or cream and maybe a little bit of sugar or honey. And again, it's to palate and to taste. And then in your cool brochure from Frontier, which is where all of our loose teas come from at 7th Street Gifts, we buy them in bulk and then repackage them in user-friendly quantities, It tells you all about the black tea, where it came from, how it's processed, and then it has a great chill chaser chai tea recipe that I would really, really encourage you to try if you wanted to kind of mix it up a little bit or try something fun with a kid or a teenager. And then it also has a homemade chai latte concentrate that is just enough for you to make with your quantity enclosed in your handout this month. If you want to concentrate it, it's a really clever idea. You make it all at once strong, and then you add small quantities to water or milk or creams in a diluted amount throughout the week. So you kind of have like a prepared concentrate ready for your fridge as a go-to drink. And instead of Starbucks or buying out or drinking like pre-made teas or drinks, coffees, not only is this healthier, it's a better quality, and then you can completely control what goes into it. So lots of fun ideas, good ideas and good recipes, and you have the exact amount in your takeout to try any of the recipes in here, or get 1 really big strong cup of chai or 2 kind of regular teacup sizes. So in conclusion, for the month of March, with 7th Street Gifts in the Lawrenceburg Public Library, the Year of Teas, we did chai tea, which base is a black tea blended with spices, and again it's cinnamon, anise, black pepper, fennel, and cardamom that gives it that earthy, spicy flavor. It's very flavorful and strong, warming, and it takes cream and sugar very, very well. And remember that unlike the green teas, although they all come from the same plant, the same shrub and bush, Camellia sinensis, this one has been processed, fermented and blended by humans and basically curated and created a whole new finished product or recipe. So this one is not crude and unadulterated. It's very much curated and created with a flavor and a full body and kind of, tinkered with by man. So it's nice to see the differences, and I think you'll really enjoy it. It's a nice variety and a good mix-up from our first 2 months. And we'll talk about matcha green tea for February in just a second. We're going to go back to the green teas, but it's a different form and version, so we're really going to see a good range and variety by the end of April. So thanks again. I'll see you soon. Don't forget the open house on March 26th, and it's tea time. Enjoy.